They called the cops on me for being black in my own driveway, so I bought the HOA and fired them all. Asterisk, the day I became the most hated man in Willow Creek was the same day I became its most powerful. $500, that's what Patricia Hensley and her homeowners association fined me for washing my car in my own driveway while being black. What they didn't know was that I had 4 million reasons to fight back and enough resolve to use every single one of them. If you're watching this video from your phone, hiding in the bathroom to escape those mind-numbing HOA meetings, drop a comment below telling me where you're sneaking a peek. I guarantee this story will keep you glued to your screen. Asterisk, my name is Derrick Harper, and until 3 months ago, I was living what most would call the American dream. I'd spent 17 years building a career in corporate law, specializing in mergers and acquisitions, eventually cashing out my partnership stake for enough to retire at 41. But life has a way of showing you money isn't everything. My wife, Camille, passed away from breast cancer 2 years ago, leaving me to raise our 15-year-old daughter, Maya, alone. The grief nearly broke us. The only thing that helped was our weekend ritual of washing and detailing our cars together, hobby Camille had loved, passed down to Maya. So, when we needed a fresh start, I chose a home in a quiet, upscale community with good schools and a community park, hoping it would be a place to heal. Willow Creek seemed ideal: manicured lawns, elegant homes, and a serene vibe. The realtor mentioned an HOA but called it standard stuff for aesthetics and upkeep. I should have noticed her pause when she said, "The HOA president, Patricia Hensley, is particular about community standards." Asterisk, I'd dealt with tough opponents in courtrooms for years. How bad could one neighborhood busybody be? I found out on a sunny Saturday morning in June, Maya and I were in our driveway, washing our vintage 1972 Corvette, music playing softly from a portable speaker, when a police cruiser pulled up. 2 officers stepped out, hands on their holsters, as a woman in her early 60s, dressed in a tailored blazer and pearls, approached from across the street, clutching a tablet. Asterisk, is there a problem, officers? I asked, drying my hands on a towel. Maya turned off the music, her eyes wide. Asterisk, we got a call about suspicious activity, one officer said, eyeing me up and down. You live here? Asterisk, yes sir. This is my home. I'm Derrick Harper. We moved in 2 months ago. I gestured to the house. We're just washing our car. Asterisk, the woman Patricia Hensley, HOA president, stepped forward, her lips pursed. Officers, this vehicle is in violation of HOA regulations. Driveway car maintenance is prohibited. I'm issuing a $500 fine. She tapped her tablet with a manicured nail, then added, I called because I didn't recognize him. We've had issues with outsiders. Asterisk, the implication hit like a punch. Maya's hands trembled as she held the sponge. I kept my voice calm. Ma'am, this is my property. The realtor said driveways are private, and we're not blocking anything. And calling the police. Really? Asterisk, Patricia's smile was icy. The rules were updated last month. All residents were notified via email. And as for the police, I'm protecting our community. We have standards. She showed me a document on her tablet. Amendment to Community Aesthetic Guidelines, dated 4 weeks earlier. Asterisk, I never got any email, I said, my jaw tightening. And why call the cops instead of talking to me? Asterisk, ignorance of the rules isn't an excuse, she snapped. And frankly, not everyone wants to see this kind of activity in their neighborhood. Her eyes flicked to Maya, then back to me, her meaning unmistakable. Asterisk, the officers, looking uncomfortable, checked my ID and confirmed I lived there. Just a misunderstanding, one muttered before they left. Patricia, however, handed me a violation notice. Pay the fine, Mr. Harper, and check your email next time. She walked away, her heels clicking on the pavement. Asterisk, Maya's voice broke as we packed up our supplies. Dad, why did she call the cops? Are we not supposed to be here? Her eyes were wet, and my heart sank. This was supposed to be our safe space, a place to rebuild after losing Camille. Instead, we were being profiled in our own driveway. Asterisk, I don't know. Sweetheart, I said, hugging her. But we're not doing anything wrong. Inside, though, I was furious. That evening, I checked my email, no notification about the rule change. I started digging into the HOA and Patricia Hensley. What I found was a goldmine. Asterisk, Patricia had been HOA president for a decade and owned a real estate firm specializing in Willow Creek properties. Social media showed her hosting exclusive community events at the park, complete with wine and catered food, while enforcing petty rules on others. Buried in the HOA bylaws, I found the park was a shared community asset, not fully controlled by the HOA, leased from Crestview Properties, the original developers. The lease was set to expire in 2 months. The next day, I met a neighbor, Clara Thompson, a retired paralegal walking her dog. When I mentioned Patricia, she grimaced. "You've met our neighborhood queen," she said. "She rules with an iron fist. Most people just pay the fines and stay quiet." Clara invited me for coffee and shared a folder of HOA complaints, selective enforcement, inflated fines, and properties sold at a loss after relentless violations, often scooped up by Patricia's firm. She's been buying up homes through shell companies, Clara explained, and I've heard Crestview Properties is in financial trouble. Patricia's eyeing the park for her next big deal, luxury condos, probably. This piqued my interest. As a lawyer, I knew distressed assets were prime for acquisition. Over coffee, Clara introduced me to Jamal Carter, a local accountant who'd clashed with Patricia after she cited him for unauthorized garden decorations. Jamal had tracked HOA fines for years, revealing a pattern. Minority homeowners were fined at triple the rate of others, and properties sold under duress often ended up with Patricia's LLCs. Her firm, Hensley Estates, uses proxies like Willow Investments to hide her involvement, Jamal said, showing me property records. She's planning to buy the park when Crestview's lease expires, claiming it's for community upgrades, but it's for her own profit. I dug deeper. Crestview Properties was indeed struggling, having overextended on a failed mall project. The park, valued at $400,000, was one of their last unencumbered assets. Patricia had been negotiating to buy it for her firm, not the HOA, planning to restrict access and develop part of the land. Her car washing ban was a pretext to control the park's image ahead of her deal. With Clara and Jamal, I formed a quiet coalition of frustrated residents. We met in secret libraries, coffee shops, even a backroom at a local diner to avoid Patricia's informants. Stories poured in, fines for loud children, unapproved paint colors, even a citation for a basketball hoop that had stood. For years, Maria Lopez, a nurse, was fined for her kids playing in the park, while Patricia's allies faced no scrutiny. Raj Patel, a tech entrepreneur, was cited for his mailbox's non-compliant height after questioning Patricia at a meeting. Meanwhile, I researched Patricia's finances. Her firm was over-leveraged, relying on high-interest loans to maintain her image. The park deal was her lifeline. If it failed, she'd be in deep trouble. I saw my opening. Jamal connected me with a contact at Crestview, Lisa Nguyen, who confirmed they were desperate to sell the park. Patricia offered $400,000, payable over 2 years, Lisa said. But we need cash now. I countered with $450,000, all cash, closing in 10 days. Lisa's eyes lit up. That'll get our board's attention. But Patricia has City Hall connections. She won't like this. I'm counting on it, I said. I set up Harper Holdings LLC to keep my purchase anonymous. As the deal progressed, Patricia ramped up her attacks. I received fines for weeds, grass clippings from mowing, unapproved window blinds, and even my car's improper tire placement in the driveway. Maya got a notice for leaving her bike out for 20 minutes. Other coalition members faced similar harassment. Clara's dog was cited for excessive barking, Raj for unpermitted patio furniture. Patricia was tightening the screws. Then came the worst blow. Maya came home crying after kids at school, egged on by Patricia's ally, Susan Grant, called her family troublemakers who didn't belong. I nearly packed up and left, but Clara urged me to stay. She's done this to others, drives them out, buys their homes cheap. Don't let her win. The park's environmental assessment came back clean, and Crestview accepted my offer. I kept it secret, sharing only with Clara and Jamal. Meanwhile, Patricia announced an HOA meeting to push a $60 a month park enhancement fee, claiming it was for upgrades but really to fund her purchase. She presented glossy renderings of a members-only pavilion, conveniently shrinking the park's public space. At the meeting, she took shots at me without naming me, warning about disruptive newcomers lowering property values. Jamal stood up, questioning her finances, only for Patricia to dig up a settled dispute over his business taxes, framing him as untrustworthy. When Maria suggested a vote on the park plans, Patricia hinted at complications with her hospital's parking permits. The room went quiet. But I stayed calm. The park was mine. Days later, Patricia learned Crestview, sold it to an anonymous buyer, and confronted me at my doorstep. "I know you're behind this," she hissed. "You can't take our park." Check. "The lease terms," I replied coolly. "It expires in 25 days, and the owner decides renewal. Good luck." Patricia's desperation grew. She held closed-door HOA meetings, rallied the mayor for zoning threats, which Clara, a former paralegal, confirmed were baseless, and hosted a community pride park event, excluding newer residents. That's when I made my move. As the event buzzed with 50 of her loyalists, I arrived with Clara, Jamal, my attorney, and a sheriff's deputy. I took the microphone. "Good afternoon. I'm Derrick Harper, the new owner of this park." I held up the deed. "You're trespassing on private property. The HOA's lease is terminated early due to maintenance violations. You have 15 minutes to leave." Patricia's face turned crimson. "This is outrageous. The HOA has rights." "No, it doesn't," I said, nodding to my attorney. "The lease is void, and I've filed a trespassing complaint. Officer, please assist." The crowd dispersed, murmuring. Some glared at Patricia. "About time," one whispered. I posted private property signs and hired security. At a press conference, I announced plans to turn the park into a community green space with free car wash days for kids, emphasizing environmental restoration after years of HOA neglect. Patricia sued, claiming community harm, but the case was dismissed. Residents turned on her as her condo plans leaked. At the next HOA meeting, Maria exposed $90,000 in misallocated funds for projects benefiting Patricia's allies. Raj revealed her selective fines. A vote to audit the HOA passed overwhelmingly. I offered free park access to kids, except those of HOA leaders, unless they resigned. Susan Grant quit the board within days, citing personal reasons. 2 others followed. Patricia's final mistake was caught on my security cameras. She and an ally dumped fertilizer in the park, likely to fake contamination. Charged her with trespassing and environmental tampering. Investigations uncovered her firm's shady deals, forcing her to sell her home no buyers. Thanks to her tarnished name, I bought the mortgage notes on 15% of Willow Creek homes, including Patricia's, offering fair refinancing if the HOA reformed. Residents voted out the old board, electing Maria as president with transparent rules and an ethics committee. The park, renamed Camille's Green, became a community trust, open to all. Maya and I hosted a car wash day, with families laughing and bonding. As we cleaned the Corvette that evening, Maya smiled. "Mom would love this, Dad. She'd be proud of us both," I said. A year later, Willow Creek's HOA was a model for reform. Patricia moved away, her firm bankrupt. I declined a mayoral run but started a scholarship in Camille's name for kids who'd lost parents. Sometimes beating a bully means rewriting the rules and waiting for the perfect moment to strike. If you're battling your own HOA nightmare, remember, know the rules, bide your time, and hit where it hurts.